Israel is not maybe attacking Iran. Israel is attacking Iran right now. They have officially declared a preemptive attack against Iran and also officially declared a state of emergency. Breaking as of 3 minutes ago from Barak Ravid, Israeli Minister of Defense Israel Katz declares a special state of emergency in the Homefront throughout the entire state of Israel. Following the state of Israel's preemptive strike against Iran, a missile and drone strike against the state of Israel and its civilian population is expected in the immediate future, says Israel Katz. Israel officially conducts strikes in Iran. So the chatters in Tehran that reported hearing explosion sounds were correct. Statement posted by the IDF to Telegram just now changes the Homefront Command defensive guidelines. Following the situational assessment, it was determined that as of today, at 3 a.m., immediate changes will be made to the Homefront Command guidelines. As a part of the changes, it was decided to shift all areas of the country from full activity to essential activity. The guidelines include a prohibition of educational activities, gatherings, and workplaces, except for essential sectors. The public is required to follow the guidelines published on the official Homefront Command channels. Full guidelines will be updated on the National Emergency Portal and the Homefront Command app. After hours market closed 5 minutes ago. Holy f***, did Israel just strike? They struck right on the dot. Now, America has said that it won't participate in an Israeli strike on Iran, but of course this does not mean that America won't defend Israel. Let's be real. America is defending Israel. Israel lacks the heavy bombers needed to destroy deeply buried Iranian sites like Fordow and may resort to repeated raids. The Pentagon canceled a top general's visit to Israel, signaling distance from any strike plans. Why Israel can't destroy Iran's nuclear program alone. Hardened nuclear sites, buried under 80 to 100 meters of rock. Only US GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator B-2 bomber exclusives can reach it. Israel lacks both the GBU-57s and the B-2 bombers. Israel's GBU-28 can penetrate 6 meters of concrete, insufficient to destroy Fordow or similar deep sites. The conclusion, Israel can carry out targeted attacks, but destroying Iran's nuclear program outright is beyond its solo capacity. U.S. help is essential for such a mission to succeed. Yeah, here's also another ominous development. Per a cable obtained by Dropsite News, the State Department is creating a Middle East task force to coordinate crisis-related support to U.S. citizens, public messaging, and diplomatic engagement due to increased tensions in the region. As in, they're setting up a specific task force for manufacturing consent to potentially go to war with Iran. Considering that they didn't set this up for the past 19, 20 months of genocide to defend Israel's image, this means that America will get more hands-on involved, and in order to deliver their hands-on involvement to the public with a more appealing message, this could be the reason why they're setting up a task force. The Iranian journalist is posting more video footage as well of more sites that were bombed, seemingly. Stock Guy says it was time to be exactly after the U.S. post-market close so no one could get ahead of the commodities or futures. Just so you're aware, they waited until right after the post-market close. That's what someone in the chat was saying as well. Normally, under other circumstances, if it was another country, I would say, like, there's no way, and it's just a coincidence. But Israel is so fucking lasered on American politics and whatever the fuck's going on in America. Like, they will use uncertainty or moments of panic in American discourse as an opportunity to fucking shelter themselves and will... Like, they are super dialed in at a time when there's growing instability in the United States of America. There's too many different things to hyper focus on in day-to-day American existence. I feel like Israel could have seen this as a unique opportunity to strike, especially as the Iran denuclearization agreements with the maximalist position that the Trump administration pushed forward was seemingly going nowhere. The only reason why I'm shocked that they did it now, after signaling that they would do it sometime before Sunday, was because of Trump's military parade on Saturday. I know that sounds really stupid, but Trump is really stupid. He is exactly the type of guy. He's exactly the type of guy that would get mad at his birthday parade getting up by a ally. But also, once again, Israel is an extension of America. Nothing Israel does, I think, is considered, on its own, independently from without American supervision. Oh yeah, this looks like a targeted assassination attempt. Trump is convening a cabinet-level meeting as Israel launched what it called preemptive strikes against Iran. A White House official and two sources familiar with plans told me and Kylie Atwood the meeting was planned before the strike. The sources said the meeting was expected to focus on U.S. response to developing events in Iran. Trump was seen leaving the congressional picnic at the White House shortly after 8 p.m. The White House declined to comment. Times of Israel correspondent with the IDF talking points. The IDF confirms it has launched an aerial campaign against Iran's nuclear program. Dozens of targets across Iran related to the nuclear program and other military facilities are being struck by the Israeli Air Force. It says the operation is dubbed Strength of a Lion. The IDF says Iran has enough enriched uranium to build several bombs within days. Within days. Oh my God. Since like the 90s, Iran is 3 seconds to midnight from building a nuclear weapon. They have enriched uranium. They are literally one day out. Sirens that sounded across Israel a short while ago were a preemptive warning issued by the IDF ahead of a possible reaction by Iran. U.S. regularly castigates Iran as the key threat to Middle East stability for the third, fourth, fifth time since October 7. Many in Washington are counting on Iranian restraint to prevent spiraling bloodshed across the region. And there is, of course, serious reason to doubt Tehran. Key context in the moment. Netanyahu demonstrated lack of concern for Israeli civilian life. The U.S. under both Biden and Trump declining to use its huge leverage to force restraint from Tel Aviv. Make or break moment for a new nuclear deal Israel opposes is in less than a month. Oh yeah, I saw this list. Look. 1992, Iran is 3 to 5 years from nuclear capability. 1993, Iran is pursuing nuclear close to capability. Iran 3 to 5 years from in 1995. 1996, Iran's nuclear acquisition could be catastrophic. Deadline extremely close. Iran's nuclear program a global threat. Iran aggressively pursuing nuclear weapons. Since 1992, Israel has released, every single year, Israel has released another statement about Iran being 5 seconds away from having a nuke. Iran is days away. Iran days away from enriching uranium for a bomb. And of course, today, they struck Tehran, residential buildings. An apartment building in Tehran was torn in half as a result of Israeli missile strike. No word on the casualties yet. This is a direct attack at civilians. Elant News says among the targets of the Israeli attacks in Iran are senior Iranian figures within the Iranian regime. They struck Tehran in a densely populated civilian area. And clearly, I mean, they used some imprecise and some more precise weapons targeting capabilities. Here is one of the examples of the more precise ones that like blows up an entire apartment, just the apartment itself. Still obviously very dangerous for everyone else involved as well. And the reality of the matter is, if Iran were to do the exact same thing, think about it. Imagine Iran attacking Tel Aviv and blowing up an entire apartment in the middle of Tel Aviv and killing an Israeli official and their families. Like, imagine what that would look like. Imagine what kind of chaos would unfold in that process. And of course, as always, as is the case when the manufacturing consent machine has to kick into high gear, notice how Naftali Bennett is on. Immediately, we get like whether Israel is attacked or whether Israel is doing the attacking, and in usual instances is Israel doing the attacking, we immediately go to an Israeli official for the contextualization of why this attack was a necessity and why this attack was actually at the behest of defending Israel. One of the targets per foreign sources, nuclear scientists.
Jim, what do you make sure?
Well, it's significant that they are striking not just missile sites as they did.
They love killing nuclear scientists. Israel's favorite thing to do is kill Iranian academics. After killing children, that's Israel's second favorite thing to do, is to assassinate Iranian nuclear scientists. Breaking, Israel has detected missile launches from Iran. There's chatters in Tehran and Iran saying that they're hearing that there is potentially some retaliatory strikes coming. War with Iran, the defense establishment detects launches towards Israel. Explosions reported in Natanz and Fordo, Iran's major nuclear. Wait, really? So they're targeting nuclear facilities and nuclear scientists and potentially like military command. Is this very different from previous missile exchanges between the two? I mean, it's larger. Israel has never directly struck Iran with this level of intensity since this last skirmish, since like post October 7. They have struck Iran before. But this is the largest premeditated escalation coming from Israel beyond like striking an Iranian embassy compound in Syria. Senior Israeli official, high probability that Iran's chief of staff was eliminated. Israel has also canceled school and all non-essential activity, knowing full well that they were going to hit Iran and then Iran was going to retaliate. And now more American tax dollars struck Iran. American munitions struck Iran. Now more American tax dollars and American defensive capabilities will defend Israel because Iran will understandably retaliate. So that's where we're at. Secretary Rubio is too busy gargling Benjamin Netanyahu and the entire Israeli war cabinet's dick, saying tonight Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for its self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear. Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. Bullshit. Israel does not do anything without America's go-ahead. Israel is America's weapon to wield in the region. Make no f***ing mistake. This is peaceful dawn. This is peaceful Donnie saying, go ahead, strike Iran. Maybe it'll give us a better position in the fucking nuclear agreement. It is bullshit. America offers additional targeting capabilities that Israel might not have. America already gives the weapons. America already gives the munitions. And America's defensive shield against Iranian retaliation is what gives Israel the confidence to behave this way and put the lives of their entire population in danger. So for all the Israeli chatters in here right now, remember that. I'm sure you're already aware of it, but remember that. Tell your parents, tell your neighbors. It is Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government's own personal ambition and America's go-ahead and America's targeting that has allowed this to happen. So whatever kind of retaliation that comes from Iran as an act of understandable self-defense, it will literally happen because America and the Israeli government does not give a fuck about anyone. Clearly, America cares more about its own soldiers, at least, and its own like embassy staffers and shit, because they knew this was going to happen. Clearly, they've been planning this. This kind of military action doesn't happen overnight. It obviously is planned ahead of time. That's precisely the reason why, suspiciously, America was moving its embassy personnel away from Kuwait, Bahrain, and also moving its troop positions away. Israel is doing this with America's go-ahead, with America's knowledge. Make no f***ing mistake. Don't let anybody tell you like, oh, Israel controls America. That's not the truth. Israel's not behaving as a separate entity here. Operation expected, according to Manny Fabian, the Israeli military expects this operation against Iran's nuclear program and long-range missile capabilities to last for several days. The IDF is preparing for heavy fire from Iran in response to its airstrikes tonight. At the end of the operation, there will be no nuclear threat. We are in the window of strategic opportunities. We have to reach the point of no return, and there is no choice but to act now, IDF officials say. It's suicidal. It's just suicide. Israel is a suicidal, genocidal, fascist country. Fascism is a death cult. Israel will literally bring everyone down with it. Either it will complete its genocide in the region, directed by the American government, or it will bring everyone down with it. Truly a cancerous government. CNN also confirming, Oren Lieberman reports that the sources say this is not going to be a one-day attack. It's suspected the last several days. First statement from the Trump admin emphasized the lack of U.S. involvement. America's such pussy cowards, by the way. The American government are such cowardly little dogs, for the record. They are so weak. They're such pieces of shit. First, they attack some of the most vulnerable internally, some of the most vulnerable citizens in this country, some of the most vulnerable people living on U.S. soil, undocumented migrants. They try to fucking sick the goddamn military on people who understandably don't want their neighbors to be fucking black-bagged and kidnapped, taken away from their families, away from their places of business. Then they fucking turn around and do this pussy-ass bullshit like, oh, we're not involved. What do you mean we're not involved? Of course we're involved. There is no world where Israel operates like this. Because guess what? If you didn't like what Israel was doing, you would tell them to stop. You would come out. You wouldn't even have to come out. You would just make one phone call and be like, what are you talking about? You're going to strike Iran. Get the fuck out of here. If you are Iran in this situation, and you have seen, as every other regional actor has seen, that Israel only responds to violent retaliation that actually causes them to second guess how restrained they must be and how little they must do in retaliation, you have to retaliate. Like, from their perspective, they leave no choice but violent retaliation. Can you explain why the U.S. is so insistent on claiming not to be involved? Feels like unnecessary PR when you make the point that U.S. is, of course, involved. The reason why they're saying that is because I think they don't want Iran to attack American bases and, like, I don't know, hurt America's logistical capabilities in the region. Or if Iran does attack American bases, then America can say, see, they attacked us without us attacking them. And then if Iran does actually end up attacking American bases, they go, oh, well, we have no choice but to join the war. They want the attack, but they know the voting populace doesn't want here at home. It's performative for both defense and electoral reasons. Yeah, that's the other side of it as well, because I believe there is it is one of the least favorable positions that any party could engage in. Americans widely, at least until this, what is it? The military task force, the Middle Eastern task force kicks into high gear and starts manufacturing consent. The American appetite for going to war with Iran is unimaginably low. Unimaginably low for understandable reasons. Why the would anybody want to go and die for Israel's genocidal campaign? Are you out of your fucking mind? Would you be down for that? Do you think that's good? Yeah, I mean, the timing is perfect. Yes, it's also not exactly a mystery for Israel to do this right on the heels of Netanyahu's government barely squeaking by a vote to disband the Knesset, and the opposition was planning to try again, being 2 votes away. Netanyahu does a 7
moments ago is.
Oh, wow! Notice how it's in English. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we know who the audience is. That's just so strange. So strange that Benjamin Netanyahu would deliver a 7-minute address to the nation in English. I'm sure there's a Hebrew one as well. But let's take a look.
Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons.
Bro, what are you saying? You're doing a genocide, like literally, not words, okay? This is the thing that frustrates me to no end. When motherfuckers that are in the process of doing a genocide, like war criminals, like actually designated war criminals for the crime of genocide, by the way, in a state that is currently doing an ethnic cleansing campaign and also conducting this ethnic cleansing campaign with a full-blown internet shutdown. There is no internet in Gaza right now. Okay, they've greatly escalated their conquest in North Gaza for a permanent occupation, and we don't even have information coming out of Gaza right now because they've shut off the internet. It's a full-blown blackout in Gaza since yesterday. This motherfucker, on the one hand, is saying that Iran is using genocidal language while he's doing a genocide, and also desperately trying to open up another front. It is so psychotic. Why aren't normies more openly upset with Israel? This is comic book levels of evil. I think people have just checked out. A lot of people have checked out. They just don't like Israel and they don't want to even think about it.
In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before. Steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the...
Oh my God, bro, what the dude, you are doing a Holocaust right now. And not even to the perpetrators of the Holocaust. Like, you're literally, oh my God, brother, Jesus Christ. This guy will literally bring up the Holocaust in like a traffic incident. You know what I mean? Holy fuck. It's just like everything. Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to hit October 7 right after this, obviously. First, he's going to talk about the Holocaust. Then he'll be like, and then remember October 7, which was kind of like a Holocaust. You know, but not what we are doing currently, which is literally also infinitely closer than October 7 to a real live-streamed Holocaust.
Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000 of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now just imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped.
Again, a hypothetical attack on Israeli soil justifies Israel preemptively, and by their own estimation, preemptively bombing Tehran. Imagine if Iran, understandably looking at what Israel has done so far in the region to every single country, including Iran, turned around and said, listen, we have to do a preemptive strike on Knesset members in the middle of Tel Aviv. It doesn't matter how many people we kill, because what are you going to do? We don't want Israel's doing a genocide right now. We don't want that genocide to come to our backyard as well. And they just glassed Tel Aviv. Obviously, everyone would be disturbed by this, right? Everyone would be righteously angry about this unimaginable death and destruction. But when Israel does it, it's totally fine, you know?
Iran and its proxies try to encircle Israel with a ring of fire and to attack us with the horrible attack of October 7th.
There it is. He said, Holocaust, October 7, we have to do 1 million Holocausts to everyone around us now.
Our actions against Iran's proxy Hezbollah led to the establishment of a new government in Lebanon and the collapse of Assad's murderous regime in Syria. The peoples of those two countries now have a chance for a different future, a better future. So too do the brave people of Iran. And I have a message for them. Our fight is not with you.
Is with your children. Our fight is with your children. We're gonna kill your children. You have babies, and everyone knows Tehran has babies of Hamas and Hezbollah. Yeah, when he said that, by the way, he said this about the Palestinians too. He's like, our fight is not with you. Our fight is with Hamas. We all know who the fight was with.
Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan. And this is why for decades, it's led millions in the chance of death to Israel and death to America.
I know this is a tough concept to grasp for Americans living in the comfort of their own suburbs, but close your eyes for a moment and imagine the most powerful force on the planet. It would have to be like an alien force with superior technology at this point, because there's no more powerful force in America, just consistently destroying, consistently wiping out other countries in the region, and then, or even using like Canada to, with regular frequency, blow up parts of America. You have no retaliation. What would you think about that alien force? You would think that they are the greatest evil of all time. You would unite in arms. You would say death to that alien force every day. Jacobin writer Branko says, Israel is completely out of control. This attack on Iran is coming while Israel is not just continuing a nearly 2-year-long genocide in Gaza, but still bombing Lebanon and illegally occupying a large part of Syria. That's 4 different wars simultaneously. Yes. The speech by Netanyahu, the preemptive sirens, they want this to be the start of the final war, the ultimate war they have been preparing for ages, that will realign the entire Middle East under Israeli subjugation. There has never been a more pliant president for this. This is decades in the making. This is Israel's final ambition in the region. And it's not just Israel's final ambition in the region. It is America's grand design in the region. And here we are. Trita Parsi from Quincy Institute says this was not a preemptive attack on Iran alone. This was Israel preemptively seeking to kill Trump and America's chance to secure a deal with Iran that prevents both an Iranian bomb and was with Iran. No other ally of the U.S. behaves like this. Yeah, no other ally of the U.S. behaves like this, because Israel is not just an ally of the United States. It is a part, an extension of the United States. When Netanyahu raised possible attacks on Iran in Monday's call, 2 U.S. officials said Trump responded that he would like to see diplomacy run its course before turning to military options. Trump is such a fucking pussy, dude. He's evil, but he's also a pussy. While America gives the go-ahead for actions such as this one, the calculation of letting Israel do this is coming from a place of fear. While he controls the cards, he is still clearly fearful of losing support from the Israeli lobby or massive amounts of money that he's gotten from Miriam Adelson. Like, they're able to convince him that this is the appropriate thing to do. He's such a ginormous dumbass, surrounded by moronic military officials who also think this is great and this is smart. He's both evil enough not to care, evil enough to think that this is appropriate measures, but also weak enough to not make up his own mind. The likelihood is increasing that Israel eliminated the top echelon of the Iranian military. Mossad is also believed to have carried out a number of operations in Iran, says Amit Segal from N12 News. Second rain of Israeli missiles are now flying over Iraq, Iran, and about to be hit again, but with way more bombs, according to Middle East Observer. Will Iran declare war? I don't know. But the reality of the matter is, if this is a final push, and it seems like it could be, then like Iran is backed into a corner, because if it doesn't retaliate at all, or if its retaliation is restrained, and clearly its retaliations in the past were restrained, that kind of demonstration of restraint did not win them any favors with America. They also saw the United States of America literally over Hamas in the process of the Gulf arrangements that Trump was making while he was in the region, while he was doing his Middle Eastern tour. They went to Hamas directly. They did a back channel agreement, sidestepping Israel. This showed a little bit of promise for incredibly desperate people at this point, that maybe Trump would be reasonable enough to stop Israel if these forces were to show that they were willing to cooperate. They released Idan Alexander, the Israeli American soldier from the Israeli occupying force, a prisoner of war, with nothing in return. They only simply got assurances from Steve Witkoff, assurances that Steve Witkoff did not actually follow through on. I think that played a role in Iran's calculation as well, that like America is fully invested in the continuation of Israel's ethnic cleansing and fully invested in Israel attacking whoever it wants to, Iran being the big prize here. Iran has been Israel's final ambition, its biggest conquest, its biggest prize in perpetuity. It is the most powerful force in the region that is not within the periphery or influence, within the umbrella of American control. So from America and Israel's calculation, Iran is the most significant actor. But because it's the most powerful one, and not just like a brigade or a non-state military actor like Hamas or Hezbollah, or a civil faction that won the civil war that is aligned with Iran, like the Ansar Allah movement comprised of the Zaidi Shia family of Houthis in Yemen. Iran presents a significant threat to both America and Israel's interests in the region. However, because of its power, they can't actually react in the same way that they do to Hezbollah, or react in the same way that they have to Hamas or the Palestinian population as a whole. But this is precisely the reason why Iran is left with the calculation of either continued restraint, which has only increased Israel's hostility, or a real retaliation that will incur penalties for Israel and the Israeli government. I don't know what will happen. I don't know. I suspect that it will be a more significant response than the previous one.